There we are. And there we are. Welcome to 52 Miniatures. My name's Alex, formerly known as Barry White today, I think. I didn't really wake up like this, just a little bit, and then it's slowly been getting worse all day. I think my son has taken a present home from school, and I feel fine. It's just that we're doing this stream a few octaves lower when it comes to my voice. Welcome. Yeah. Hey, Blue Fangs. The voice. Yeah. It's gonna be one of those streams today. What was his name? That radio guy with the hair. Anyway. Hello, Robin Zink. And good morning, Kylie B as well. Well, Dan, I'm actually don't really feel bad. It's just, I guess we'll see tomorrow morning what the world is like this side of the bunker. But yeah, I mean, probably something's up. I don't usually just spontaneously go Barry White. So yeah. I'm glad you're here as well, Kylie B. Welcome. Howard Stern, that's the one. We're doing a Howard. No, we shouldn't do Howard Sterns. I'm very not much like Howard Stern, I think. No offense, Howard. Good afternoon, Magpie. And hello, CP Tronic. And good morning, Dave from Huntsville, Alabama. Welcome. My Lawrence says, hello from Stockholm, recovering from the same sort of sickness you probably have. You don't want to know about my diseases, man. I'm just kidding. Yeah, probably. It's like kids started school and then they just start spreading stuff around. And yeah. Thank you, Adrian. Yeah, we're doing... it's looking a bit bright, isn't it? I don't know. That's okay. I'm trying to fix up a new... This is not a new space. It's a new corner. It's my new permanent little thing. Still kind of trying to figure things out. I'd like to be able to stream, better. Like actual painting while streaming, stuff like that. And I was also like, while painting, I was usually sort of flexible. Having desk is like, I had a flexible workstation only in my bunker, so I could move around. Only I realized it was just more and more getting stuck in the one spot, and so I figured I might as well do this permanent thing. And I've been painting here all weekend, and it's been good. Now I just need to like fix the last bits and pieces. And this table is a bit wobbly, which I don't like. I think I need to sort of attach it to the wall or something. But yeah. Lord Biscuit of the Tossable. Oh no, COVID. Yeah, I don't know. I've tested myself, and the test said no. Computer says no, but who knows? The tests are a bit tricky sometimes. So I should probably do another one tomorrow. But I'm not really planning on meeting anyone this week. I don't think. I hope not. I've been meeting up with way too many people the last 2 weeks, so I don't want to, go away. Yeah. Hello, Marcin, and watch in a month, probably watching number 9. Yeah, you can always jump back and forth and get confused over what's going on. Hello, Ian and Dirk. Welcome. Wingwalker is wondering, have you tried out the AP speed paints? AP as in Army Painter. No, I haven't tried out the Army Painter speed paints. I'm not so much of a speed painter, and I've got a few contrast paints, and I have some of the that I called instant potions or something from scale color, and sometimes I just mix my own using like inks and contrast medium or matte medium from Liquitex or stuff like that. Uh, but I'm not much of a contrast paint user actually, so I haven't really been interested in trying the speed paints because I don't really paint that way all that much. Um, but there's plenty of people that have, and there's plenty of videos about. There's plenty of people in my Discord, the Patreon 52 Miniatures Patreon Discord, that have tried the speed paints and seem to enjoy them. I had a comment on the last stream that said that I should start every stream saying that yes, I know things look pretty, and I do this sometimes for a living, so that's why you know my streams look great. So that I don't have to say it later on. The only issue is with the live stream is that people always jump in, whenever they want, and so then I would have to, say it all the time. So yeah. Um, a Piper Wondering says, "Greetings. Just moved house and watching for the first time as I set up my new painting area." Well, I'm glad you're here. It's painting areas. It's like a little bit sacred, I think. It's I mean, yes and no. I used to, I paint at home as well at my like kitchen table. It's not very sacred. It's like it got honey puddles and like bacon dripping or whatever. You know, is that like pale yellow, or is that bacon fat? I don't know. But yeah, but when like setting up a specific area, it's like, is the chair the right height? Is the table like this? The wobbliness. Don't like the wobbliness, and so that annoys me while painting, and also like because it's like, so I need to fix that. And so it's fun to set up a painting station, I think, because it's like you can try and get it as perfect as possible. Um, yeah. Hello, Arconis, and hello, Marcus Stratus. Welcome. I always like to say that you're in New South Wales, USA, because that confuses me and others. But yeah. Hello, Adventures in Crafting and Max Power. I hope you're all well. I'm a bit early today for reasons. One is this is like getting worse. It was not like this morning, and so I figured, what is it going to be like in an hour's time? Then you'll be real scared of what's going to happen in an hour's time. So I figured I could start a bit earlier, also because I feel like I'm clashing with the Titan that is Adam from Tabletop Minions, because he sort of jumped weekends and is all of a sudden streaming like the time that I was streaming. And for one, I like to watch his streams, and two, it's like, well, there's lots of hours in every week, plenty of them, like more than 52. And so why should we, we shouldn't be streaming at the same time. But then again, this is like it's difficult for me because this is like one of the few times when I know I don't have my son, so I can like plan. But yeah. Tybot Angevin. That's a tricky name. Hi, Alex. First time I can catch one of your live streams. Well, I'm happy to have you here as well. Welcome. Adrian says a couple of beer coasters under the legs and it'll be fine. Yeah, well, that's the problem though, Adrian. It's not the actual. The wood is too heavy for the legs, so it's like it's sturdy against the floor. It's just that the like thin IKEA legs are like, no, this is massive high quality wood. It's too heavy, and so I kind of need to get better legs, or just I'm seriously mainly thinking about just attaching it to the wall. Lenrix Realm from Germany. Greetings. Welcome. I hope Germany is treating you well. Smurf in USA, hello, and welcome. Looking forward to whatever you're up to today. Yeah, I've spaced a few things out here so that I've got some talking points. One talking point today is going to be a new game by Black Magic Craft Jeremy. It's called Idols of Torment. That I'm just going to say it lots of times because I think Jeremy's great. So it's like Idols of Torment, Idols of Torment, Idols of Torment, Idols of Torment. It's going to be the theme for today. Also other things. So yeah, stick around for some hobby excitement. Hello, Outback Minis in Terrain. Good to see you again. Stretch. It says I'm sounding a bit like that frog I painted a few streams back. Yeah, what was his name? I forgot. It wasn't Henry. I remember Pip. That was the fish alien, but I can't remember the frog. Yeah, the frog seems to have jumped down my throat today. It's a bit of a shame. I should be, if only I would have had the script for the voiceover for the next video. That would have been fantastic because then I could have done a voiceover with this kind of voice. The problem is this is just going to be like this today, and tomorrow it's going to be like, nothing. So yeah, it's one of the downfalls of YouTube creators. It's like you get a cold and it's like you're out. You're not going to make any money for like 2 weeks until your voice is back. Yeah. So please join the Patreon. There's a sick YouTubers pension fund link down below. Okay, Adrian's funny. Dave says, I assume he jumped weekends to coincide with the releases for Space Station Zero. Yeah, I think he jumps back and forth. It depends on like the conventions he goes to and stuff like that. So it just happens. It's yeah. But it felt a bit weird last time, me talking about Space Station Zero while the creator was having his stream going at the same time, talking about Space Station Zero. Which one? If you're interested, who you're going to watch? Probably the guy who created it. Hello, Halika from Finland. And a live show, which is always, for me, my live shows are always live. But obviously, for a lot of you, it's like, post live, which is I guess past. Andy from Umeå as well. Greetings from the north. The city of the squid. Oh, is he from up there? I was actually at Alphaspel yesterday and bought some things. I bought some. Look, I have a new craving, like, because I'm like, I don't need to buy any more paint. I've got so much paint now, so I've started to buy tufts instead. This is dark moss from Gamer's Grass. Some lovely tufts. I don't know where in what part of England your tufts are tufts, but yeah. I now, like, it's like every time I go to the game store, I buy tufts. But anyway, I was and because I've been trying to sort of organize holding a workshop there. That's why I rambled into that corner, because there was a gentleman here from Umeå, which is Sweden, and there's a few other Swedes, and I thought you should come to my workshop. I just need to organize it first. But we had a bit of a chat, and so probably by 2025 there'll be a workshop. It's just Spurf in USA, yes, I did say Idols of Torment. Idols of Torment. Idols of Torment. That's why I woke up with this voice today. It was like it was just fate, because okay, sorry. One point in crafting says, I was hoping you'd talk about making music for Idols of Torment. Yeah, I did that too, didn't I? Which is fun. I've also been working together with another creator um, making the video. So she was here from Thursday she left this morning. And now I just have to paint the thing that has been created. She's linked down in the description as well, I believe. I've already put her in there. Her Instagram, you can check her out, which is, that's just her nickname, Florencia. But yeah, so that's been cool. But I've been like working a lot. No, it's not really working, is it? It's I've been, you know, building stuff with little figurines and painting small miniatures, which is not really work. But it's been pretty intense. And I was, now I just need to paint it and write a script and edit the video and do a voiceover by like Thursday, which is impossible. So we'll see how that goes. But I also made the music for that video last week. It's I've been a bit intense, I think, taking things too seriously or having too much fun. It's like, I don't know what's what really. Typo says, personal question, on average, how many hours a week do you manage to spend on the hobby? Tons more than most people because I make the videos. So, I have another job, but that's as a freelance, like a photographer. And so that goes very much up and down. Sometimes I have lots of work and sometimes I have no work. So, some weeks I can sit like every day for like 8 hours and make YouTube content. And a lot of that is about just painting stuff. So, on a good week, it's almost like it's my full-time job to paint miniatures and film and that. The filming part actually takes up quite a lot of time. Like if you paint for 2 hours, then 1 hour of that will be like fiddling with cameras and lights and But anyway, so a lot of it, and then I try and paint, also just at home for the fun of it. So sometimes in the evenings after my son's gone to bed, I'll sit for like half an hour or something like that. That's like normal hobby time. But I get a lot of time in, you know. Lenny, that's right, Blue Fangs, Lenny the Frog. Thank you, and thank you, Blue Fangs, as well for being here. She's admin. Watch out if you're not nice. Blue Fangs will hit you with her spanner. You can see she's got a spanner next to her. It's like smack. Cali B says, I'm still preparing stuff to start playing Space Station Zero. That's this very bad Sean Connery interpretation. I can't have another new game come out. No. Right, you don't. It's like every week. So you start Monday, paint the miniatures Tuesday, build the terrain Wednesday, learn the rules Thursday, and when Friday comes along, you can play the game Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, new game. You're fine. But no, it actually seems really cool. I've been watching. Jeremy's been putting out. Jeremy from Black Magic Craft has been putting out tons of videos on like gameplay and just stories and miniatures and or not the miniatures, because it's you don't actually need to use his miniatures if you don't want to. It's like miniatures agnostic sort of. But I very much like the setting and the story, and the gameplay seems pretty cool. It's very. But we'll get into it. I'll talk more about it soon. Hello, John Bruce. John is asking, what was that game from Black Magic Craft again? It's actually called Idols of Torment. Idols of Torment. It's a sort of a skirmish game, Idols of Torment, it's sort of miniatures agnostic Idols of Torment. Adrian says, paint your face for the next video, then do a 2-part entirely as mime. Massive profit. Yeah, mime is. I mean, it's massive on YouTube. especially in the miniature painting niche. It's like miming miniature painting with. Yeah, no. Next idea, Adrian. Thanks. Dan asks, "What did you do before full-time YouTube?" I'm still not full-time YouTube. I'd need about the way things are to even consider sort of being full-time. Everything would need to be like twice as big, preferably even more from YouTube. YouTube doesn't really give all that much money if at the level that I'm on. I know I'm not. I still have plenty of wonderful subscribers, and it's great. But for YouTube to actually generate money, I need at least twice or more amount of views than what my videos have right now. And even then, that wouldn't even be half a wage. Most of the support that uh, makes all this happen is from the people that support me on Patreon. But even there, I would, in theory, kind of need twice the amount of patrons to even be able to consider doing this full time. So yeah, so it's almost half time, I guess. And when I don't do this, then I'm a photographer and filmmaker. Hello, Chris from Nicaragua. And you're quite right, Blue Flanks. Turfs and Blue Flanks. I'm sorry. It's it's going to be one of those days today, I think. Smurf in USA says Gamers Grass really makes nice products. I love the irregularity of the tufts. I agree. I've been buying plenty, not really, but I like buy one packet of theirs every time, and they're always sort of like this, different sizes, and depending on like some of them can be really long, and I bought some that are just super super small, and then there's lots of different colors, and I think Gamers Grass makes some very nice tufts. If you're working for Gamers Grass, Gamers Grass, they make some really nice tufts. Can I have some, please? But yeah, not seriously. I like them because of the different shapes. One can obviously just cut the tufts, but this just spurs the imagination a little bit more. So definitely like them. F is wondering if I had too much whiskey. No, but I kind of wish I did. This is just, this is probably lack of whiskey, honestly. Isaac Almqvist, hello. How are you doing? And a happy election day. Exactly. Today in Sweden is election day. I've already voted. I did it. You can sort of vote ahead of time. Excuse me. And so I voted a couple of days back. But today is the big election day. So if you're Swedish and you haven't, go after the wait until the stream's over. Press like, maybe write a comment. If you really want to, you can join the Patreon or buy merch, stuff like that. And then when you've done that, you can go vote. It's the first thing you do once you've done the other things is go vote. If you're Swedish, there's no point going to vote if there's no election. But yeah, it's important. Go vote. Hello, Edskar. And F said he just voted as well. Excellent. Tybot says, with the current world crisis, it's not a good idea to rely at 100% on YouTube or Patreon as an income. Maybe or maybe not. I don't know. It's not really a good idea to rely on freelance photography either, especially not having come out of a pandemic where no one really wanted to see you because they thought your camera was like contagious or something. I don't know. I'm sorry, but no, yeah, I've got no idea. I've never had a proper job in my entire life. I don't know how to do that. I've never been employed in my entire life. I don't think. Kind of a few times, very short stints until they realized who I was, and they're like, "Ooh, okay, you go do something else now." Oops, sorry. Adrian says, "Or you could join the Patreon." True. It'll be less risky for me in the current world crisis if you join my Patreon. Hello, Michael Strange. How are you? I asked you a question today, I think on YouTube. There's a comment you written. Yeah. regarding the my last video, which was on kit bashing. I did a shoulder pad from cutting out the small little scales from a aluminium beverage can, and I think Michael Strange here said that there's like punches that you can actually punch out, and I was curious, Michael, what kind of punches is that? Is that like the leaf punches from something like Green Stuff World, or is there actually like scale punches? And yeah, I was interested. Chris says, I've been enjoying Tufts, sorry, made by Huge Minis, small company, small US company, unsure of Euro distribution. Yeah, never heard of them. It's usually a thing with smaller companies in the US. Don't really. There's all the taxes and stuff to ship your stuff into the EU. But I'll keep my eyes open. I'll actually even write them down because it's just fun to check things out. Huge Minis. Huge Minis equals Tufts, Turfts. Smurfing USA, any favorite brand of whiskey? Just in case someone's watching right now and is thinking about supporting your channel. Yeah. I mean, obviously, as a responsible content creator, it's better to stay safe than sorry. But to stay sober than. Anyway, I like Auburn, which is a nice whiskey. Idols of Torment. Oh, look, there's something for Blue Fangs to do. Lovely. Kylie B says, one of my friendly local game stores has Gamers Grass packs with 4 half sheets of different color tufts. Yeah. That's another great thing. This one isn't. This is just the single, but they do. So you get like the ones I've seen, at least. It's like you get like something that's about that size, and then but it's 4 different ones. So you get lots of different variety. It's like English all sorts of tufts. Outback Minis and Terrain says, have you seen the new Vallejo branding and their new express paints yet? No, that's totally not at all. No idea. Didn't even know about it. Express paints. So they're doing some kind of speed paints as well, and new Vallejo branding. No. I just bought these paints, and I'm kind of probably not buying any other paints for quite some time because this was the best thing I've done in a while. So flat, golden, matte acrylics. I've also actually, here's the thing. Look at this. Okay. Press this button. Press this button. Okay. So this is a so flat golden matte acrylic. It's like it's great paint from a company called Golden, but it comes in this it's like a tub, which has got lots of lovely paint in it, but it's a tub, which is kind of tricky. So I bought. Look what Amazon brought me. I'm now going to put the golden so flat paint into one of these clear plastic thingies. Oops. Which is the highest Chinese quality. Does that work well now? Sort of, yeah. And then I bought some mixing balls. It's a perfect combination. And I got one of these things too. Like, that's going to take ages. But, so I'll be doing that one day. But I thought this would be good. We'll see. I'm going to do like one, I think, and just see that there's nothing actually bugging me out with these. But it should be fine. Arenthius is asking, so as a Dane, I was wondering, how far away do you live? Well, as a Swede, I would have to say in Sweden, which I guess depends on the speed of your car, or if you own an airplane, it's not very far. Oops, sorry. I live in Stockholm. Michael Strange says, yes, I'll send you a few links. Please do, Michael. You can like post them on Discord or something. It would be excellent. This is about the punching out shapes of stuff, preferably for. He says I've got one from making bricks from rolls of corkboard. Okay, yeah, links please. Mitten says lots of Soulflat paints there. Yeah, do you use them a lot? I just purchased some, but haven't gotten a chance to try them yet. I've been using nothing else. I haven't been painting huge amounts since I got these. But the big thing that I'm working on right now, which is over there, and I'm not going to show you because that would spoil sorry, the fun of the next video, is only painted with Soulflat acrylics. And I'm trying very hard to because a lot of these paints are like very sort of single pigment paint. It's like there's a blue one and there's a green one and there's a red one, and it looks very like you're painting with just the primary colors or whatever. And so I'm trying really hard to mix and blend and stuff. And it's been a lot of fun. But it's a great paint. It's just so very vibrant and covering, and works really well on the brush and stuff. So yeah, I'm having a good time with them. I talked about quite a lot about these in, was it the last stream? If for those that are curious. Also, I know Dana Howell has made a video recently on Soulflat paint, and I believe Ninjan at some point made a video on Soulflat paints, and I think also Vince Venturella has made a video on Soulflat paints from Golden. So there's plenty of videos to watch if for those that are interested. Rancid Fever, kind of, might be me tomorrow, I think. Good afternoon from the UK. What's your favorite painting technique, and how would be the best way to learn it, in your opinion? Ooh, that's tricky. I'm a big fan of wet blending. A great place to start getting into wet blending is to check out my video on wet blending. Yeah, I don't know. I think early on I was very inspired by watching Sam Len's wet blend. I thought that was cool. It looked really neat. I want to do that, and so I just started to do it, and then eventually I kind of learned a little bit. I think that's the best way of going about trying to learn any technique, is sort of maybe watching someone just to try and figure out what is the actual technique. Because someone might say, tell you you should learn glazing, and you go, yeah, I should probably learn how to, fix that hole in the roof of my house as well, but I don't know how to. And, we have a lot of terminology for different techniques in paint. I don't even know half of them. And so first one sort of needs to figure out what is the technique actually about. Just watch someone do it a couple of times. You don't have to study it in depth. You just watch it and then just try. And then when you've tried it on like 10 times or something, then maybe you've picked up on a few things, and then you can keep on trying it, and eventually you've learned how to do it. I think that's the best way of going about learning a new technique, is just to try. There's not really any other way, I think. And I'm not saying this to sound, full of myself or something. It's just, I know it can be tricky when, you watch a lot of people paint, and it's first there's like a layer, and then there's a wash, and then there's a dry brush or whatever. And maybe that's what you learn, and it's difficult to get out of that. It can be scary even to try, because you don't want to ruin miniatures or whatever. But yeah, one of the best things is, I think, if one wants to learn new techniques, is to try and just figure out ways to make the experience less scary. So maybe you have a miniature you don't really like, or you have like a test paint miniature that you can just paint, and then you know it's a fail, and you can just prime it again, and you can test again, and you know. Sorry, I need moisture. And just find ways where it's not scary, and then just keep practicing, whatever the technique may be. And then eventually, pretty fast, you probably get to a point where you're like, I can kind of start painting minis like this now. And then maybe a year or two later, then you're actually probably good at it. And then maybe you try to learn the next technique or something. But yeah, oops, microphone. One point in crafting says transferring all that paint is going to be your whole day. Yeah, I know. It's why it hasn't happened yet. And Tybot says, looks like you need an assistant. I agree. Michael Strange says, get a tiny funnel for the paint transfer. I believe I have one. I think that's... As soon as I realized, I was like, no, that's 3 mil at a time, and these are like 17 mil. It's just stupid. I have a small funnel. So yeah. Andrew says, good afternoon from the UK. Just finished my first mini with So Flat. Picked up the Ping and Zing boxes. Yeah, they've got funny names, don't they? Great paints to work with. A big fan of your content. Well, thank you. I'm glad you like the paints, Andrew. They've got funny names. Them. It's like starter boxes. Pop and Zing. I'm glad you like them. Ivan, hi from Australia. Love your content. I've been learning wet blending myself at the moment, and I've been loving the results. Yeah, I like wet blending. I think it's very handy. I think I've actually I'm getting worse at it, I think. But I very much just like to use it as a first sketch and just sketch out, you know, the tones, and then go in and refine them with like regular, whatever, painting. It's difficult to get precise results with wet blending, but yeah, I just like the look of it in the end, I think. Adrian says, you have a tiny child for the paint transfer. Problem solved. The problem is the paint won't be transferred into the bottle. It will be transferred to the outside of the bottle. And that's not where I want the paint. Mr. Pendrake says, I used a 20 ml syringe to transfer the So Flats. That's smart. I don't have one, but that was smart. Excuse me. Just need... I'm back. Hello, Alison. Good morning. I hope you're well. Yeah, I'm actually... I felt fine kind of this morning. It was just a little bit of a tickle, and then here we are. So tomorrow probably is, zombie day. I don't really have time for that, but... Marcus Stratus is wondering, are you intending to do more making money making Space Marines? Yeah, it's a series I've got called Making Money Painting Space Marines. And yes, I think probably after the next video, so not the next one, but the one after is hopefully will be one. I have that one's planned at least. I know what I'm going to do. I haven't done it. So yeah, I have a fun little idea for that one. It's going to be good. One point in crafting, it can often be difficult to improve techniques when practicing because many of us paint by ourselves, so we don't get feedback. This is true. And guidance. Blue Fangs, hurry, there's like aliens come visiting the chat. Thank you. Yeah, one point in crafting is saying is true. You know, workshops is a, you know, either you have a friend that you don't mind, getting critique off of, because that can be sometimes tricky. Sometimes you're friends with people because they don't say, give you critique, and then all of a sudden you're like, yeah, shut up, I like it, you know. But that's why workshops are great, because y- the mindset is to go learn, but it very much depends on where you're at. Really, we don't really have all that many workshops going here in Sweden, or Stockholm. Um, but that's if your local game store or something like that has workshops, that's a good way to improve, because then someone can be like, if you just add a little bit of white to that, it'll look like 50% better, or just go a little brighter with the highlights, or just dilute the paint a little, something that might take you uh, painting 10 minutes to figure out, someone else maybe can see in just a couple of seconds. So that's a very good idea. Chris says, I took a wet blending class with the Vince, which would probably be Vince Venturella, last week at Nova. Looking forward to applying the technique. That's cool. I'd like to take a class from Vince. It's a shame that there's so much water, and well, I guess also land mass in between us and the US. But yeah. Thank you, Blue Fangs. No worry. Please keep on edge highlighting. Um, Redline asks, any plans to try the game of Space Station Zero? Sounds good to play with the family. Um, I would like to try. I'm waiting for the book. Actually, I'm supposed to have like a physical book. It's on its way, I think. The post office over here, honestly, is a bit of a shambles right now. Um, I'm waiting for lots of things, and they like get stuck in customs, and they get sent back. And um, this other day, I got they called me and asked me to say what was in, because someone sent me something and they didn't say how much it was worth. It was like a gift, but you still have to say how much it's worth, and they hadn't. And so the customs office called me and asked me what was in the package, and I'm like, I don't know what's in the package because someone else sent it. If you can tell me who sent it, maybe I can find out. No, sorry, that's confidential. Okay, so you call me to ask me what's in a package someone else sent, and you can't tell me who sent it. It's a great system. It's perfect. That's why I live in a bunker. It's like just to give. I don't actually live in a bunker, but yeah, go vote. Vote for the better tax customs, um, people to get into. Okay, okay. Stop the rambling. But I've seen Vince do like a gameplay of Space Station Zero, and it looked like fun, especially with the dice. The weird odds and evens. I've never played a game that has that kind of mechanic. It's like you roll a dice, and lots of dice, and it's just evens are good and odds are bad, and that's how you count. It's not like you need more than I need to hit, so I roll, so I get like more than 10 or more than 15 or whatever. Or this was more like a 2 is worth as much as a 12 kind of a thing. Not really, because I think it's like a critical great to have a 12. I can't remember what the dice were, but anyway, I just like the system. It seems like fun. So I would like to, but at the moment I'm just not playing enough games at all. So that needs improvement. Hello, Phil. Welcome. Um, I hope you're well. I've got a toad in my throat, uh, but I don't want to scare you guys by, trying to pull it out. Edgar, I'm grateful for the big bit of water in between us and the Yanks. I'm quite grateful. Yeah, well, let's not let's be nice. Everyone behave. Clyde Dashing says 93 watching and only 38 my 38 likes. That's a good point. Clyde, please, those of you that are watching, press the like button. that way more people will see that this stream actually exists. It's like YouTube magic. The more people that press like, the more people get to see it, the more people get to press like, and then eventually, the more the merrier, So please press like, write a comment, all that kind of stuff. Excellent, thank you. So I'm going to show you some stuff. This is some of the stuff Jeremy sent me. It's actually so I said I was going to talk a little bit about Idols of Torment. It's basically Jeremy from Black Magic Craft is going to release a game. It's a Kickstarter, and I think it's gonna start pretty soon. I'm not sure if the Kickstarter is actually live. There is a link down in the description, I believe. There is also. Let's have a look. If I do this, you can probably see the website. Dark skirmish game from Black Magic Craft. There's tons of videos on Black Magic Craft's site. If you want to see, notify me on launch. Yeah, so it's probably not really been launched quite yet, but it says September, which is so that'll be soon. I'm making a video on the game. On something inspired from the game. It's a pretty cool story, actually. It's a skirmish game. The thing is, like, there's this, it's like a universe existed, and then things. It's like powers out there in the universe, not like the universe that is bigger than just mass. It's like the conceptual, who created humans and planets and all of this kind of stuff. I'll explain this better in the video, but essentially there's this beings out there that need to sort of consume the power that is floating around in the internet in the universe, and eventually they figured out a great way to, like, they could store this power in, like, humans, and then they could, when a human died, they could it was like human was just a battery for this power. So that they created Earth and humans to just, it's a great place to store the energy, and it was there for a while, and then when you need some human dies, and you can just take the energy. Only then the energy is really, it's powerful stuff. It's like magic, and because the humans started to develop their own sort of beliefs, like religions and heaven and hell and Christianity and whatever, and because they were filled with this magical life force, these things actually became true. So it's like you believe in something and it comes true. So Terry Pratchett has some good books based on that. Anyway, or good ideas based on that. But so eventually, humans actually created heaven and hell, and so that their souls went to heaven and hell, and not to, like, this place where usually these beings could consume the power. So they got really, really hungry and kind of angry, and then everything kind of went bananas, and everything just collapsed and exploded, and hell and heaven just crashed and collided, and lots of things happened, basically. And now all the souls, when people die, just end up in this void, and they just wander around, and they look like this. They're called the Lost. These are actually the only miniatures that you use in game that you should be using in game, kind of. These are Lost miniatures. There's STL files as well for those that want to 3D print, or there's like these. And so these folks just wander around. They're dead. It's like dead people with like the souls of dead people or something like that, in this void of something that used to be hell and something that used to be heaven, and it's like constantly changing and whatever. And so these great beings, they're like beyond gods, created yet more species that, to harvest these folk. And that's the people you play. So it's like a war band of weird creatures. They could be anything, um, but there's also STLs for that. And so you have, you know, two teams, two people playing. You've got a war band, and your point is to like reap some souls. Only these move around on the board. The souls sort of AI kind of, randomly moving around. And so you need to, should I attack my enemy, or should I try and, grab a soul, and then the soul just moves. It's very, very chaotic looking. And terrain can move, and terrain can like explode or disappear or whatever. There's cards, which is cool. There's also, I got a bag. In theory, you have like tokens in the bag. So when you start a game, you like grab a token, and then the other person grabs a token, and then you grab a token, and you keep on going like this. And then eventually it's like, okay, you get to go first because you got number 20. And then it's my turn because I got 19, and all this kind of stuff. Idols of Torment. Go check it out. The next video I'll be releasing, which because of this frog in my throat actually might be delayed, honestly. This is not according to plan. Throat will be on Idols of Torment as well, and the Kickstarter will be launched. I think it's kind of cool because it's a cool setting. You can craft your own weird terrain, craft your own weird miniatures if you want. It's like, is it fantasy? Yeah, kind of. Is it sci-fi? Could kind of be. It's just weird. It's dark. It's lots of lore and stories and things with cards and dice and fun stuff. Check it out, please do. Yeah. Smurf in USA says, in terms of workshops, I've made the experience that the crafting and painting together is a vital part of the hobby. Criticism in a positive, affirming, supportive way is what makes you improve. It helps, and definitely faster, I guess. I've always been the kind of person who just sits down and paints, usually by myself, sometimes with my son, very rarely with someone else. And that's about it. And I kind of more learn by doing, which is not always fast, but I still enjoy it. Vladimir says, just dropping in briefly to say hi, and thought, whose voice is this, and where did I end up? Yeah, this happened this morning, Vladimir. I'm doing good, but I probably tomorrow, I'm guessing I won't do good. It's, yeah. There we are. So, my inner Barry White has, come to wreak havoc with the live stream. Smurf in USA went on saying, I organized the weekly tabletop club at our local school, and the pupils, aside from playing, mainly drop by to craft, paint, and work together. The hobby sometimes makes it hard to find like-minded. Yeah, that's a great initiative. People in the real world. Yeah. No, it sounds very good, Smurf in USA. I think it's fun to hang out sometimes and do do the same thing with others. And in some circumstances, that's easier. Like my son plays soccer, which he enjoys very much. And there's tons of kids that play soccer, It's one of those things that people seem to be doing a lot, is playing soccer. Also, a lot of people go watch soccer, but there's not quite as many who, craft terrain for tabletop war games or paint miniatures. There's not like, you go to a stadium full of people and everyone's like, shh. So it's great to create whatever kind of a places in real life or virtually, where we can get together and just feel part of a community. I think it's very important. It's a great idea to join the 52 Minutes Patreon, because then you get access to wonderful Discord community. That was bad. I'm sorry. It's a very nice community, though. Phil says, I really like the look of the Lost Souls. Yeah, I think they're great. And these, as I said, because these are, they're more like tokens. And so these you actually sort of, I mean, you could use whatever you want, but these come with the game, I guess, depending on how I haven't seen the Kickstarter. I'm guessing there's like, you say, I want that package or this package. For the project that I've been working on with check the link down below. Florencia Grotesque is the Instagram. It's her nickname. We've been using a lot of these, but 3D printed, and to like. And when I say a lot, I mean a lot. I think I printed probably about 60 or 70 of these, which I'm kind of regretting now that the video is supposed to be released on Thursday, and I started painting only yesterday. But there we are. Me and Veronica have had a very good and fun time working together. So it's been great going back to like community and stuff like that. It's just it's fun to work on a project together with someone else, and like she's great at like crafting and building, and has, probably more of an artist's mind. I, on the other hand, I'm better at painting than she is. So she got to build, I get to paint, and it's just fun to do something with someone else. Tomb God says, and there's a vinyl record included in the larger pledges. Yeah, I know. It's pretty cool. For as one of the Kickstarter pledge levels, you get a vinyl with music, which is pretty rad. Phil says, not easy to find a game unless you're okay playing 40k or AOS in their shop. So crafting and building painting is mostly of what I do. Yeah, that's going back to probably Smurfing USA's comment, and I'm reading it out loud. Clyde says it's late night talk version of 52 minutes. Yeah, I believe it's getting worse and worse as well, the more this stream progresses. Phil says you could keep the voice and do voiceover work. I know. The problem is this is always what happens. Usually if I get a cold, this is the first thing that happens. And, the rest is fine. And it's just the voice, but it's only for one day. And then, after that, it's just a cold. And then everything is like, sounds the opposite. I need to find some kind of like augmentation cyborg, like some kind of, I could press a button and some internal hormone release agent thing like activates, loosens up my vocal cords, and then I could do voiceover work. Otherwise, I just have to make sure I got colds all the time, which would be kind of annoying. Hello, Jazz to the two. Plastic Panzer Factory says, when I joined the Friday stream at the office, my manager asked me who I was talking to because they'd never seen me smile that much at work, even for a split second. That's very nice and good to hear. We do on the Discord channel, we have like a hobby hangout on Fridays, every other Friday. Just to, sometimes everyone just sits quiet and paints, which is, it's just nice to look up every now and again and see like, oh, there's another 5-6 people sitting there, painting. But we talk a lot as well. I'm I'm glad you're happy at work, I guess, or maybe not. I don't know. Yeah. Hello, Mark from Montana. Welcome. Um, I guess you've done your driving for today. No, you haven't. You're going to drive all day. Mark is a patron as well who likes to drive cars and build miniatures. Jazz to the Two says, I know it's not related to the current topic, but can I ask you what brand makes your favorite white paint? That's a good question. No. I mean, yes, you can ask, but I don't know if I can answer you. Um, I oof. You realize how seriously I took that question. Everything just went quiet. So I've been using this yesterday and today. Golden So Flat as a titanium white. That was good white. Um, I like Scale 75's white. I also like their Scale Colors Fantasy in Game range, which is has a white, and it's really thin. Okay, so here's. I think I use different whites for different purposes. I think that's one of the things. So, for instance, the Fantasy in Game, which is a Scale Color, it's the same company that do Scale 75. They have a white, and it's very thin, almost transparentish, not really. And it's sometimes very nice to just use that to do highlights with because it's so thin, it never becomes harsh, bright white. It's just sort of a bright highlight, goes over whatever color really, and just highlights that because it's a little bit transparent. Um, and I also like more of an artist color, the stuff that comes in a tube. They can be really thick and really covering, which is handy sometimes. Um, I sometimes use white ink um, when I want to like really get some, this really needs to be white. I can use some Liquitex white ink. And so I think that's why it's a tricky question is that all these different paint brands, sorry, have different qualities and sometimes I want a thick white and sometimes I want a thin white and yeah, but white is very tricky. um, if one is after something that is very sort of covering in few, not so many layers, stuff like that, I definitely check or try Pro Acryl. All their sort of white paints and like cream and the bright ones, they're really good if you like, you just want to paint a layer of a white or a bright. Um, I've bought some and I've been used them a little bit, but I find them sometimes a little bit difficult to work with because I wet blend so much, and I have difficulties wet blending with them. I think they're too fluidy or something. But their sort of cream and white paints are very very covering. If you're after something that is covers really really well, maybe check out Pro Acryl. Pro Acryl. Phil says, I tried to explain to a guy why I wanted to take an old for sale sign out of his skip. It was 5 millimeter plywood coated on both sides. And he just looked absolutely baffled until I lied and added for my son. Yeah. You should start telling them the truth, Phil. I'm just about to go build a miniature little diorama with people shooting each other. Oh, my, yeah, chat jumped here. And please, everyone who's joined in, don't forget to press the like button. It'll just spread the stream a bit more. Dow says, glad I could catch you live. You gave me the courage to try my first very simple kit bash. It didn't go as planned, but I had fun. That's the way. if you never do it, then you'll never get to a point where things go as planned. So you just need to start. I'm glad to hear that, Dow. Thank you for letting me know. JDub says, I just have to say that I love modeling and painting with your stream in the background. Plus, with your deeper voice, it's like I'm being serenaded while doing so. Yeah, it's a thing today. Marseille says, I can hear you getting worse as the stream goes on. At this rate, you'll be a shell of a man by the end of it. Yeah, I know. That's kind of one of the reasons I wanted to start a bit early, because I was like, this was hardly here. It was just a little bit this morning. And then as the day progressed, it just got worse and worse. And I thought it probably won't be totally wrong if I just start 1 hour earlier. And we'll see if it goes to shambles, then it'll be a bit of a shorter stream today. It's still very nice to see you all. It's always great to have a chat and say hi to all of you. It's like I always look forward to this Sunday. Phil says we can always rewatch the stream to re-experience the deep, Alex. Yes. Jamie Mayers, how are you doing? Hope you're well, Jamie. Good afternoon, everyone. Retufts, I find Tajima one do some pretty good bushy-looking stuff. Tufts. Tajima. Never heard of it. So that goes down on the paper next to the huge minis tufts. Tajima one. Ooh. I've got the squeaky chair again. Tajima? Tajima one. Okay. I'll have to check that out. Mark from Montana. 600 plus miles yesterday. Yeah, it's crazy. Plastic Panzer Factory says he can't answer the white paint question because he took his labels off. Yeah, kind of. It's like mayhem at home, because I had I did a video on it, but at home I took off all the labels on all my paints. And probably once I poured these into here, I'm not sure if I'm going to put any labels on these. Anyway. And I was painting, and it was like this, and then I just had to clean up the paint desk because my son had his birthday party last weekend, and I wasn't going to leave for one thing, there's I can't, stuff like this doesn't always go hand in hand with kids' birthday parties. I have, some hobby stuff at home for assembling miniatures and kit bashing and then paint. So it was just a mess. And so I just quickly just pushed everything up into the paint rack. And so now it's just, it's just a weird random mixture of paints and paint bottles, all without labels, no order of color, and washes mixed with. Yeah, it's a nightmare. So we live and we learn. Hello, Freety91. Phil says pro acryl or golden so flat or thick bodied artist titanium white. Yeah, that about covers it, Phil, when it comes to white. Hello, Javier. Josimar Caballero Monte. That was a long name. Bio, greetings, Alex and chat. I had a question. What's your opinion on the new squats, aka Leagues of Votan, and also the new Chaos Chosen? And what do you think of their design? I haven't paid them all too much attention, honestly, Bio. I remember when they released an image of the first squat. So it's, for those of you that aren't into sort of the Warhammer thing, a squat is basically your classical dwarf, like your Tolkien oompa, boompa dwarf with a beard. Only you shoot them 40,000 years into the future, and they're space dwarves, kind of a thing. And I remember when they released the first picture, and I saw it, and I was like, "This is really cool. Maybe I should start playing 40K." I say this about a lot of games, but I thought they were great. It was just the one picture. It was just the one squad, and then they've been releasing stuff. And the more they release, I'm a bit like, okay, yeah, but they all just, it was like Space Marines all over, only smaller. It's like I, it becomes so conceptual, like they all went to the same factory and made all their armor on the same day, and that's your army. I know there's some guy who's dressed more like a traditional dwarf and has the robots around him, and I don't know, but it just it's like they decided that everything was going to be a bit round and a bit chunky, and they just went with that. And so I got a bit bored with the looks of things, honestly, which was a bit of a shame. I'm not saying there's anything wrong with them. That's just how my mind works. We're all different. I would have hoped for maybe a bit more variety within all of the different miniatures. For me, they all just look the same now, which is, yeah. Chaos, I have no idea. I haven't had the time to look into that. Games Workshop releases so much at the moment. Lately, it's like there wasn't there just like a new Kill Team box just now, and then all of a sudden there's like, yeah, because they were cool. Everything that came in the Kill Team box, that would have been enough for me, with some Kroot and some like actual Marines in space without being Space Marines. That was great releases, I thought, and then there's just more and more and more. Rambling again, but yeah, I haven't had any chance to look into Chaos. Jazz to the Two says, "What type of golden paints are those?" I just searched the brand, and there seems to be a few different types. These are called So Flat. So it's an acrylic paint. The reason it's called So Flat is because it's got a matte surface, and they're very sort of it's nice and fluidy in here, and it's exceptionally vibrant. It's just great. I've been painting with these. I only got them recently, and oh, it's very bright. You can hardly see stuff, can you? I only got these recently, but I very much like painting with them. And they have a very matte surface, and they, a nice sort of flowy texture. And yeah, the thing with these is, as with most artist paints, is a lot of them are single pigment. Some are mixes, but a lot of them are single pigment, and so you don't get a huge range. There's not like tons of different, you have to do more mixing on your own, which is, on one hand, can be a very fun thing to learn, and on the other hand, it can be, you just want to grab a paint and paint. You don't want to get into like learning all the theory. But as paints go and quality of paint, it's absolutely awesome. Because it's artist paints, they're priced according to the price of the pigment, and so some of them are more expensive, some of them are cheaper. They're bigger bottles, so when you look at the price, you can go, "Oh wow, that was expensive." But if you actually compare how much paint you get compared to like small regular paints size things, like these are usually like 17 mil or something like that. This is 59 mil, so there's a lot of paint. There's also a few of them that, depending on what you consider being toxic, there's two I think that have cadmium in them. Would be obviously yellow and red is usually, or yellow and orange, yellow, cadmium, yellow. And there was some other with lead in or something, which maybe is just paint you can avoid buying, so you don't have to think about, um, you know, eating cadmium in case you wake up in the middle of the night and feel like eating paint. Yeah. Allison says, unordered paint colors in your paint rack. I'm uncomfortable from here. Yeah. I just sat this morning. I haven't really thought about it, and this morning I sat there and I looked at it, and I just laughed because I was like, "That's a bit disturbing." Phil says, "I hate space dwarves almost as much as I hate all hobbits." Yes, Phil is a man who knows what he likes and does not like, and we love him for it. Um, My chat jumped and I saw Jeremy. Hello, Jeremy. It says, you sound lovely, but probably feel terrible. Quick, record some hobby ASMR. Yeah. Hello, Jeremy. I hope you're doing good. And thank you. I've just talked a bit about your game. Jeremy is Black Magic Craft, who is soon to be releasing the lovely black bag and that. No, Idols of Torment that I was talking about earlier. And yes, I wish I would have written the script for that, because it's going to be my next video. And if I would have written the script, I could have recorded it today, and the entire video for Idols of Torment would sound like this. Now it's not, just probably going to maybe be a bit delayed. I'm sorry, Jeremy, because this is going to. I woke up fine, and this happens, kind of halfway through the day, and it's getting worse and worse. So my video release might be a little bit delayed. Yeah, we'll see. Might just be all the airbrush paint I inhaled yesterday because I was on a creational spree and forgot about my breathing thingy. Shouldn't do that. Clyde says you should be getting speed paints done before the plague hits and cramps your style for a while. Yeah. See, I have this huge. We as I've said a couple of times now, I've been working on it's a large project thing, creation, sculpture. I'd say it's art. It's miniature art has been made, and miniature art needs to be continued to be painted. And I just really need to get it done. But yeah. Phil says, I don't think they're actually space dwarves. I think they're hobbits with false beards. Jazz to the Two says, yeah, I understand the price per pigment. I bought some oil paints to try out on washes and was shocked that some colors were like 3 or 4 times the price. Yeah, exactly. All sort of artist paints do that. Or most of them. I guess the really cheap ones don't. I'm sorry. I'm just gonna. It's spreading. I'm sorry. Give me a sec. I'm back. But yeah, on usually oil paints, you can see it sort of says if it's like at least Winsor & Newton that I've been buying, it says like Series A or Series 2 and Series 3, Series 4. If you're unlucky, you just grab one and it's like $40 instead of $4, just because it's an expensive pigment. But usually, like as with these so flats, there's like three different yellows, I think. And if one isn't super picky, one can buy the yellow that's cheaper than whatever. Phil says, I honestly love the cadmium red and the yellow. I don't eat paint, and I was broken a brush licking by painting with oils. Yeah, I mean, there's a point. There's a reason why, they make cadmium yellow, and because it probably makes a great yellow pigment that people like to paint with. And so that's the thing as well. If you just, the paint won't actually jump out of it's not like you open it and it's like instant death, uh, because they wouldn't be allowed to sell that. Um, it's just like if you drink the whole thing, it's not good for you. But if you just paint with it, if you just put the paint on the miniature and you don't do anything else with it, and you just clean out your brush, and you can wipe your brush off some paper, and then you can just keep on painting, then nothing's going to happen to you. We're very 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 cautious in this miniature hobby, and it's great, but it sometimes also kind of goes to the extreme, I think. Yeah. Okay. Jazz to the two says, I've never understood brush licking. See, I'm very good at brush licking. The thing is, like, you paint and you've got paint on your brush, and then you rinse your brush. So you rinse off all, it's just water. I've even got two. See, I've got dirty one, clean one. Water. I've got a brush with water in it. Only if I put it in my mouth and I spin it when I put it out, then I got a perfect little tip, so that when I start painting again, it's got a great tip on it. The fact is that the only thing I did was actually put a little bit of water in my mouth, and it's not the same thing as having like a spoon and eating your paint. But that's like a lot of people that see you lick your brush, they're like, "Oh, you're eating paint." No, I had a little bit of water in my mouth. I've been drinking water this entire stream, and there hasn't been many complaints. This is not all that much worse, and it's all about getting a nice tip on the brush. For me, it is also when wet blending. It's a way of getting, because I wet blend a lot, like to quickly get all that moisture off your brush. Because if you put that in the paint, it'll dilute the paint too much, and it'll be too diluted to be able to wet blend. So you just, and all the moisture is gone, and you can keep on wet blending. That's kind of how it happened. And then it becomes just a habit. And then, like Phil said, you start painting with oil paints, and all of a sudden you got white spirit in your mouth, and then that's when you start thinking. Jeremy says, "Good things come to those who wait. Get better." Okay, thanks, Jeremy. I appreciate it. It's I'm going to do my best to get it out there, but I'm not going to be stupid. Calvin says, "Thank you for doing this. My pleasure." I'm not actually feeling bad. It's just going to get worse probably. Jazz to the two says, Citadel says Korax white, and that gets pretty close to killing me instantly. Yeah, that was funny. Thank you. And Jeremy says he's already the best. Well, thank you. Likewise, kind of a thing. Dr. Dave says, I think I would buy Instant Death Paints. It would be a cool name. Did someone see? I don't know if it was today he released it. There's a Blue Fangs with the you can stop painting now. Blue Fangs. Anyway, thank you. Um, There's a very sort of well-known painter called Roman Laporte. I don't know how to pronounce his last name. He's very very good at painting. Uh, he paints really emotionally, I find, which I like his work a lot. I saw something today. He released stickers for paints, so you can buy a Roman Laporte sticker, and like so the skin color was like called a dwarf's ass. It was just made up fun names on paint that were like worse than what one could think of even Games Workshop could do. Um, and I think he had one set in German and one set in English. There was like 20 of them. So it was just fun names to put on your paint. I thought that was very entertaining. You should check it out. But yes, instant death paint would be pretty cool. Anything in instant death would be cool, like instant death miniatures. Like 52 miniatures doesn't really sound as cool as instant death miniatures. I would probably have at least 250,000 more subscribers if my channel was called something instant death. Steve Walsh says, I've been meaning to become a Patreon for a while, so I just did. That's nice. Thank you and welcome, Steve. I hope you enjoy the Patreon. Not much goes on at the actual Patreon, but the Discord, if you feel like hanging out with nice people or talking more to me or like-minded folk or getting tips and tricks or just whatever, talk with Phil about how to fry food properly, then the Discord is great, which you should now have access to because of that's how my Patreon works. Adrian Giddings says, I thought Korax White was just very expensive cottage cheese. It's funny. Nicola says, how to progress in highlights. My strokes are too fat, I guess. You mean, it feels... yeah. Like to make really, really small lines, highlights. Like, I know it's the second time I say it today, but like practice. Sometimes it's like bad days and good days. I have these really small pointy brushes. This is a Red Grass Games, small pointy one. They only make a few. And on a good day, and it feels like the paint is have enough water in the paint, and I can make these really tiny, thin, white, it looks perfect. And then the next day I sit and it's like, and I go, but it's the same brush and it's the same paint. But maybe just a little difference in like how much water was in the paint, how it flows, all these kind of things. And I guess that's when someone is really good at painting. When you've painted a lot, it's you get these things right just because it becomes a habit. Whereas for us that are still learning and maybe getting better, it sometimes doesn't always work out. But I find the more I paint, the better at it I get. I think that's one of those, it's like a life hack. You can probably apply that to most things in life. Clyde Dashing, thank you for the money. Hopefully that'll cover the cost of your NyQuil. I guess that's like anti-Barry White pills, right? Thank you. I very much appreciate it, Clyde. Thank you. If you're wondering what Clyde does, there's like a special button somewhere. It probably has a dollar sign on it. You can press it. You can write in, type in whatever amount you feel that you can spare, and then you can give it to me. It's a fabulous idea. It's one of these, whoever thought of that, like, thanks, Clyde. Shots Magini said, I will say your video on the Stormtrooper Space Marine was what got me to actually buy the materials to oil wash. Um, I'm glad to hear it. That's a really good, like especially when working on something like that, with like trying to do a white armor. Um, for those of you who haven't seen it, I did a video on painting a Space Marine like a Stormtrooper. So it's basically a white armor, which I just spray painted it white, and then I put an oil wash on there with a gray oil paint, and that's pretty much it, really. It's just a great workflow to get some very decent tabletop white, which is just using a gray oil wash on just a white rattle can miniature. I'm glad you tried it, McGinty, and that it worked out. Here's another thumbs up for Pro Acryl's Titanium White from McGinty as well. Adventures in Crafting, how are you doing? I hope you're well. Says, want an interesting view of brushlicking? Look up the radium girls of the 30s and 40s. I know we don't use radium infused paints, but I was motivated enough for me not to do it. Yeah. Don't eat poison, I guess, is a bottom line there. Just as the two is going to bed because you're in Australia. I can see why you would want to go to bed because it would be very late. Thanks for stopping by. I guess that was a good thing of starting the stream an hour early, is I get to get a few more Australians in there, which is fun. Maginty says, "Isn't that a brand of water? Instant death." I believe there's a band at least. There's probably about 65,000 thrash punk bands on this planet called Instant Death, but I think there is at least one that has released like records on a label, but I'm not sure. Allison says Liquid Death has to be a metal band for sure. I mean, you just put death in anything, and it's been a band. And if you want to know how to find it, just enter the forests of Finland. Nicola says, "Thank you for the answer. More practice." Yeah, I know it. I know it's a boring answer, but it's a lot of the things we do it's so very much a craft, and it's like carpentry or whatever, and it's kind of difficult. There's no like hacks. There's no like speed. There's obvious. You can practice more, or you can practice less, or you can go to workshops and maybe get instant feedback and stuff like that. But it's still about you kind of just need to repetition and just do things, and it's a very boring answer. It's like just practice, but it's more and more becoming my favorite answer. I kind of forgot. There was another thing I wanted to talk about. I'm going to pop these in a video at some point, but they showed up recently. I just wanted to mention it because I thought the idea was kind of neat, and I'd never heard about it, so I don't know if you've heard about it. These little sort of blister packs. They were sent to me by, as you can see, a company called Only Games. Which apparently is actually, the same folk who run My Mini Factory. So it's like part of the My Mini Factory family. I've always like that's my mini factory is usually where I buy STL files, where like people put up STL files for 3D printing, and now they've started like their own printing service. So um, they have like 65 billion 3D printers, I guess, and you can go to only games. And in theory, I guess the idea is that you're supposed to be able to order whatever is on my mini factory in the end. When I think they've only just started up, and you can actually order physical miniatures instead, and they print it out in house and they post it to you in a lovely little blister pack like this, which is kind of cool for everyone that doesn't have a 3D printer. Um, I just wanted to say that because I thought the idea was kind of neat. That uh, I know there's Etsy and stuff like that, and if you find someone that you think these guys print nice things and everything works out, but this feels like one of the first really sort of large scale in-house printing things, and it's connected. I mean, the company is the same. It's my mini factory. It's just another, same people, different company. So that's kind of cool. It's worth checking out. But I think I'll talk more about it in a future video. But I just wanted to mention it because I just saw them lying there. Mr. Mustache says, we used something we referred to as liquid death to clean silk screens in college. Not sure what it was, but it was more effective and nauseous than turpentine. It sounds like liquid death. Um, Jamie says, the trick to getting good at something is simply doing it for 10,000 hours. Easy. See, that's that's the thing, isn't it? Um, People ask me a lot about sort of photography and light and lighting and filming and stuff. And it's like, I've never really actually practiced it. I've just been working with it for the past 15 to 20 years, uh, which is kind of why it's starting to look all right. And in the end, um, when we see, I think because not only YouTube, but also Instagram and stuff like that is, it's very easy to just think that all the miniatures, all the miniature painters out there are just awesome because so much of the stuff we see is just excellently painted, like technically flawless. Because there are tons of people about that really like to just sit and practice and become really, really good at something. It's like it fulfills them, and that's fine. It's good even, um, but it's like it kind of skews our image, I think, of what the hobby could be. Like all of us maybe aren't. I know I paint uh, I paint well, and I like to just practice and get better, not because I want to win awards or anything like that. It's just that's kind of part of the hobby for me, is just to try new techniques and just keep working on them. But it doesn't have to be for everyone, And there's a lot of constant talk about progress and getting better, and as long as that's fun, that's really good, and then we just keep doing it. But one doesn't actually have to be great at painting miniatures. It can be as fun to just paint miniatures without them looking like half of the ones on Instagram. I have friends who just, they just like to sit with their contrast paint, and it's like this bit is red and this bit is yellow, and oh, it looks pretty decent. I'm happy with that. Next one. And then they play games with them, and they still think, this is my army. I'm proud of it. It's fine, And um, they found their space where they enjoy the hobby. Um, I'm not saying there's anything wrong with getting good at painting. I'm just saying right now there's a lot of focus on technique and winning awards, and like for some reason everyone knows what Golden Demon is, but there's only like 5 of us, not me included, who can actually paint to that standard. Not really, but kind of. whereas there's like several 100,000 that just likes to sit down and paint minis. But for some reason, we just talk about Golden Demon all the time, kind of. Um, so yeah, that was a little bit of. Oh, I almost managed to get the rant of the day out of me there. What I want to say is, like, if you want to practice, go ahead. It's a lot of fun. I do it as well, but don't stress out. You don't have to get better just because of everyone else. It should just be fun to paint. Adventures in Crafting says, finally became a patron. Thought I already was. Well, thank you, Adventures in Crafting, and welcome. And, no worries for not doing it sooner. I'm just glad you joined in. And hopefully I'll see you on the Discord then. My voice is really, I've probably just got like 10 minutes left of this because, yeah. I'm scrolling through the chat. And Andrew Addison would like to ask, what make model is your main painting light? I struggle to paint with anything other than natural light. These are actually video lights. This thingy here, which is, and this is a newer one. That's the older version. These are LED panels from a company. Sorry, slight. My mind is it's called Aperture. I can link it in the chat. Not in the chat, in the description of this video. Once we're done, the company is called Aperture. They also made like this lamp and stuff like that. I mean, it's actually video for filming video, which makes them relatively expensive, but Aperture is one of the sort of more reasonably priced brands, So it's LED panels. There's another one there, and there's one here. I very much liked the thing with lights is nowadays when we work with LED lights, there's a thing with LED lights is well, there's a thing with light in general. Light in general is there's a spectrum of different colors, kind of a thing in light, and the sun, for instance, the light that comes from the sun, natural sort of daylight, that kind of a light, has a very full, broad spectrum of all these different colors and equal amounts, kind of every single color. And something like tungsten lights, like the tungsten light bulbs, it's still kind of the industry standard for like Hollywood and stuff like that, because it also has a full spectrum of this colored light. Once you get into LED lights, then you actually kind of need a red and a green and a blue and a yellow LED all shining at the same time, creating white. If you don't, you get false reproduction of colors. So you can have what looks like, oh, this is nice, sort of cold light or warm light, but there's actually, there's no rays of magenta in that. So when you look at something that is magenta, it doesn't actually look like magenta. It's difficult to explain. There's a term for it. I think it's called CRI, but I'm not sure. It's essentially the quality of the light, how full the spectrum is. When one buys cheap lights, especially cheap LED lights, they're usually really bad. There's a lot of colors in the spectrum missing, and our eyes have difficulties working with that. And colors don't actually represent well. It's like if you're at a concert. I know there's been a pandemic and stuff, but usually if you're at a concert and there's all these colored lights, there's like a red light and there's blue light, and they're LED lights, and they're only shining like one color. The blue one is only it's like only blue. So when you take a picture with your phone, it looks really weird. It's like it's just flat, and there's like a line where yeah, it just looks really weird, and that's because the camera can't read anything but the one color, so it just becomes completely flat. Once upon a time, that would have been like a really strong bulb with like a blue filter in front, and the photograph would have looked like it was just blue light shining there. It wasn't like that completely flat, weird thing going on. And the same thing, but much milder, can happen with cheap LED lights. So it's a bit tricky when you know, if you buy something really cheap, you can or even decent. Like I have these IKEA lamps in the ceiling that were pretty expensive, like LED um, big things. They're terrible. It's like one's a bit green and one's a bit yellow, even though they're supposed to be the same, and everything just looks weird. And I just have them as like general cleaning lights. But if you can, there's meters like to meet the quality of the light, measure the quality of the light. And if I do that to these, it's just really bad. Whereas if one uses light that is done for filming, it's usually really good. That was a long story. Um, I'm sorry, I got carried away. This is why I haven't done a video on how to take pictures of your miniatures, um, because yeah, these kind of things can happen. Adrian says LED lights makes taking shots at gigs a nightmare. Yeah, and there's like, I'm not saying everyone needs to go out and buy like video quality lights, but I'm just saying that if you buy the cheapest light off of Amazon, there might be a reason why you find, you know, if your eyes get tired or the colors look strange, even though it says it's daylight, because it's nice to have a daylight temperature lamp. But this hasn't got anything to do with if it's daylight or if it's warm. It's just not reproducing colors correctly. Um, Professor Alex speaking. Nicola says, I don't know if you've been told this, but you're inspiring me and people like me, newcomers. Maybe not to win the Golden Demon tomorrow, but at least to paint some more plastic men. Yeah. And there's nothing wrong with this, you know, if you feel like, you know, the coolest thing ever would be to win the Golden Demon. If you feel that way, then, you know, go for it. Um, there's nothing wrong with Golden Demon at all. I just feel it's a bit, you know, the climate right now, in what I see, at least on my Instagram and on videos on YouTube and stuff like that, the level of painting is so high. And so I remember when I started painting and you join in and you're like, you know, dip your paint and then you like stab it. Like, it's red now. Um, doing that while watching, you know, crazy paint jobs, maybe sometimes including my own on Instagram, is sometimes inspiring, and sometimes it's just like, come on, chill, you know. I guess. I believe I'm going to be rounding off in about 10 minutes. I don't think my voice can do any more than that. If there's anyone who has any sort of questions they haven't asked, and if there's anyone who hasn't, you know, clicked the like button, please do. I was supposed to link something. The lights. Yeah, I'm going to write that in the description. If you're curious, but I think, I mean, they're fairly expensive. I'm kind of eager. I know Red Grass Games, the folk who make the brushes and the wet palettes and that, they've had a lamp, a painting lamp in the works for quite some time. I know it was delayed because I know that the designer Um, I think he got, it was during the pandemic, and I think he got pretty bad COVID or something like that. Um, but I believe they're going to start launching it pretty soon. Like it's a Kickstarter or something like that. But I'm pretty interested in checking that lamp out to see what it's like, because it's not only is it pretty, but it seems to be um, a pretty good like desk lamp for painting. But I've got no idea what the price range is going to be. It looks expensive, but yeah. Adrian says there's also that this mini was lit for an Instagram photo as opposed to what it actually looks like. This is also true, and I guess that's very much up to whoever takes the picture, I guess, because you can take pictures that are a bit more dramatic, um, and then you can take pictures that are just supposed to be like this is what it looks like in real life. Usually, if you look at pictures taken at something like the Golden Demon, then whoever takes that picture, that person's job is to just make it look as much as what you see in real life as possible. Um, but very often it's easy to in other cases maybe exaggerate a bit just because it looks dramatically better. I don't think people lie on purpose. It's just wow, this looks cool. um, and that it's fun to see, to go look at other miniatures painted. Like if there's exhibitions, or like if you go to game store has miniatures someone else has painted. I know, like the Games Workshop store in the city, they have that typical sort of Games Workshop sort of storefront thing, lots and lots of painted miniatures, like some kind of army and a big tree, and I don't know, some of their terrain. And then obviously in the store they have painted miniatures that you can try play games with and stuff like that. It can be a pretty good spot in just checking out what other people's painted miniatures actually look like in real life, holding them in your hand, and you can judge by that and not by something that you see on your screen. Uh, it's pretty fun. Josh says, just getting into the hobby, started with the Yorick side of the starter AOS box. It looks like I'm in the market for a wet palette. Do you have any recommendations? Um, I, as I said with the same as with the brushes, but um, Red Grass Games wet palettes I like. They've just released new wet palettes, which seem to be even better than the previous ones. They have a red one, which is a decent. It's got a red lid. It's a pretty good, just standard size to have at home. Here I've got a big one with a blue lid, but I mean I've got 3 tables and a bunker with lots of room. But at home I've got the small red one, and I'm enjoying it very much. So I'd check that out. If you're just starting out and you just want to learn how to use a wet palette, you can of course just make your own using like a tub. Um, you know, I was going to say a Teletubbies tub, but that was not what I meant. I meant Tupperware, Teletubbies Tupperware. Yeah, that kind of a tub. But like, okay, my brain fried now. You can make your own. You can check a video out on making your own. There's plenty of them, just to try it out. If you already have that and you just want to buy a decent one, I'd check out Red Grass Games. Jadin says, I normally miss these live streams living in Australia, but an ability to sleep has rewarded me with this on my YouTube front page. Well, I'm sorry to hear about the insomnia, Jaden, but it's nice to see an Aussie, because I don't get to see them too often because of the difference in time. Marcus says, if you're in the States, you can find a Masterson's wet palette easily and economically. So there's a tip as well from Marcus. And good luck with the Oryx side. Is that the Dominion style box? Because I've got all of them as well. I do want to paint them. Would be fun to paint some orcs, but I need to finish my Stormcast first. Smurf in USA says, do you still have your first painted mini? Wish I had mine, but sold it 25 years ago. I might. I have a few, but I wouldn't know which one's the first. Probably not. No, I think one of the first. No, I don't. I have some like before, even before my own painted miniatures. My dad painted a few miniatures for me because we found these Lord of the Rings miniatures. It was way back before there was a Lord of the Rings Games Workshop game. I'm 40, remember? So when I was a wee lad, that was quite some time back. And I just thought the fact that there was little miniatures was really cool, you know. Same as, you know, one grows up with Lego and these and, you know, that kind of stuff. And then there was like, I really like Lord of the Rings, and there was like hobbits and is the pony, is it Bill or Billy? I don't know. And there were dwarves and all kinds of things. But I was like, yeah, sure, but I'm not painting this because I can't, you know, how am I even gonna? So my dad helped painted them for me, and I've got those. It was actually a discussion because there's a Balrog. It's a pretty cool Balrog. It's about this size, uh, and I'd maybe want to make a diorama or something with that Balrog, but I'd also, in that case, want to repaint it. And so I think I asked that. I think at some point I asked my patrons, you know, should I strip it and repaint it? I think everyone shouted no, and that I should just buy a new one instead. Well, they don't make them anymore, but there's probably similar ones on eBay. So all right, my friend, I'm probably gonna go home and see what my couch feels like. My whole plan was to finish that. I'm pointing over there because I can see it. That big hunk of a thing that we've been building for the last couple of days, and I really should, you know, spend all evening painting that, and all day tomorrow, and all evening tomorrow, and so on and so forth. But I don't think I'm going to do that. I think I'm going to go home. But it's been lovely to spend some hours this Sunday with you. Just yeah, it's just great to hang out and chat, and I'll hopefully see you again in 2 weeks. Bye.